My name is Dr. Jessica Cortez. I'm the Director of Graduate Studies. I have here in the meeting Mr. Grant Ordorn. He's also joining us. He is the coordinator of Graduate Studies. We're here to assist you in any needs you may have to attend graduate school. So please reach out to us if you need to. We thank y'all for joining us today. We appreciate your attendance. And I do have the meeting to record, Dr. Broussard, as well. So if there are some students who express interest, we'll have a recording we can send to them of some of the things we discussed today. Great. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Dr. Carmen Broussard. She is the coordinator for the school's psychology, the specialist degree we have here on campus. It is the highest degree that we award. So without any further ado, I'm going to let her take the meeting.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I am Dr. Broussard, and I am the coordinator of the school psych program. This is my 21st year at Nichols, or maybe my 20th year at Nichols. I've been the manager of the program for about 18 of those years. So every student who has applied to the program or matriculated through the program has done so with my guidance. So I think I have a little bit of a background to help you with learning about school psychology and learning about how our program works, how to complete the application process, but then also what to expect in the career. So we have, is it Tasia?
Yes, ma'am.
And Lindsay and Aubrey. So I'd like to know for each of you kind of when you did complete or are you now completing your undergrad program and where your undergrad program was held. Tasia, why don't you start?
Well, I'm actually a high school senior. I'm just trying to see where I would go. Because like I'm trying to decide if I want to go into nursing or psychology. So I'm just trying to pour and like just go through all the talks and see which one I want to start off with, maybe.
Super smart, super smart. So both of those fields are, you know, working with the public, working with persons potentially of different ages. And we're going to have 2 more psychology graduate, well, 2 counseling programs, which are grad programs that are going to have this event. So I know you can look out for those as well. Yes. Welcome. What's your high school?
Academy of Our Lady.
Okay, thanks. And Lindsay?
Hi. I actually completed undergrad in 2016 with you guys over at Nichols.
Okay.
My degree is in education, grade to 5. And I've been wanting to seek out getting my master's. However, I kind of want to have my options open to something that would maybe take me out of a classroom at some point, just to kind of prepare for my future, you know?
Awesome. And Aubrey, how about you?
Hey, so I completed my undergraduate in 2018 of December, psychology at Nichols. And I'm kind of like Lindsay, I'm just kind of definitely wanting to start on a path towards a master's degree. And I'm just trying to see what Nichols has to offer with that. So.
Awesome. Awesome. So, as I said before,
they're coming back to us.
Yeah, that's awesome. As I said before, there are 3 graduate programs in our psychology department. Psychology, Counseling, and Family Studies is the name of our department, and that reflects the different concentrations that you might be able to pursue either as an undergraduate or a graduate student. And so anyone, even if they're applying to the specialist program, I do let them know that you do have choices as far as graduate study is concerned, and there's a little bit of overlap. And so the school's counseling program will train you to work in the school system, but also provide you with an opportunity to consider pursuing the LPC, which is a licensed professional counselor credential, which allows you to work in the community. And then our clinical mental health program will train you to provide mental health services in a wide variety of clinical settings and community settings, and will also help you to get what you need to pursue that LPC credential. Our 2 counseling programs are 60-hour programs. The specialist program is a 72-hour program, so it's a little bit longer. That makes it the highest degree because it's the largest number of hours that you would complete. The school psychology degree trains you to work only in the school system. There's never any license, there's never any provision for you to leave the school system and work primarily in a clinic setting independently. Some school psychology graduates will work in a clinic setting, but you have to work under supervision of someone who's licensed for all of your life. And those rules are specific to Louisiana. If you move to Texas or another state, you might have a little bit more opportunity to work in the community. But bottom line, the school psychology program is to train school practitioners. It's not a heavily research focused program. We do have courses in research and statistics, and we do have quite an emphasis on understanding research and applying research, but students are not required to complete a thesis project or a specific research project class. They might do some applied research activities within classes. So a school psychologist is going to work primarily in the school, well, totally in the school district. That person is going to typically be employed by a public school district. And so you have benefits and salary that are commensurate with the degree, a high level of job security in that districts are required to have a certain number of school psychologists, and there's currently a critical shortage. Districts have fewer psychologists than they need. And so the projection for graduates of our program are that there will be a steady availability of employment for some time to come. So other questions about that? I do want to talk about other aspects of our program, but I don't want to just run ahead.
Hey, this is Aubrey's mom. I'm sitting with her this morning.
Sure.
Just had a question about the difference between, I know you said the specialist, the school psychology specialist degree would be the higher degree. What's the difference between, and this is a very, very elementary question, but the difference between a specialist degree and a master's degree?
So it's just the title of the degree that was identified when the program was created. And so historically, there is an undergraduate degree and then there's a graduate degree. And historically, the graduate degree is either master's or doctorate. But when the National Association of School Psychologists, a very long time ago in the 80s, developed the recommendations for the degree, they called it a specialist in order to distinguish it from a traditional master's program. And so that is what the program has been named across the nation, either a specialist or an education specialist.
That's a good question.
Good question.
And I just learned something.
Yeah, so it's a historical title that was established by the National Association in the 80s when school psychology was born as a university degree, as a way to distinguish it from prior master's programs that had a focus that was similar but did not provide the same kinds of training experiences.
Okay, so it's considered a graduate degree.
Yes.
Just with a specialist title.
Correct.
Okay, so she wouldn't say she has a master's. She would say she has a
specialist degree in school psychology.
Specialist degree, but a graduate degree.
Correct.
Correct.
Right, and within a school system, within the academic setting, that is understood in terms of human resources, in terms of personnel. The State Department of Education certifies teachers, it certifies speech pathologists, it certifies counselors, and it certifies persons with that specialist degree in school psychology. So it's a similar system in recognizing individuals as qualified to work in the school system.
Thank you.
Sure.
With the, I know you said with the, like the clinical mental health, you said the school psychology is a little less research driven as far as understanding of research, yes, but applying research, I guess, a little less of that, but maybe more so in maybe the clinical mental health area. I'm curious as to why the GRE is required for this, but not for the others, seeing that the others are more research driven.
So I did not mean to imply that our other counseling programs are more research driven. Dr. Cortez, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, there is a course in research in our counseling programs, but we're more application. Our training focuses on actual development of skills to work with individuals and in different settings. So while research is a piece of it, it's not a big focus with our counseling programs.
Just wondering why the GRE was required for one, but not the others.
The GRE has long been used as one of the predictors of how boys and girls, I say boys and girls because I'm an early childhood psychologist, I'm sorry, how graduate students will perform at the graduate level. And it is, it's still a requirement for our program as a predictor.
Y'all have a heavy focus on assessment too, so you need demonstration of some of those skills on the GRE to indicate a good candidate. Wouldn't you agree, Dr. Broussard?
So there was there's a movement of people in my home as well, so I had to tilt the camera a little bit. And so in terms of application to the school psychology program, there's a written application where any applicant does answer questions about their career choice and what they're interested in doing specifically within their career. There are letters of recommendation. There is a transcript from every university that has been attended, and the GRE score, which is set at 146, which is the 146, or is it 147? The GRE 186. Hang on, 286. I'm getting the praxis and the GRE mixed up in my head. And so the minimum is a
I'm trying to get
286.
to it. It's on the main website.
It is.
Admission
Look
requirements.
under admission requirements.
There we go.
Yes, ma'am.
That's
It's
what
a
I was looking
286.
for. Here, I got it. All right.
I'm sorry. I've
No,
been
you're
working.
good. I was trying to keep it.
Yeah. I've been working with praxis data, and that's a 147, and so that's why it got me confused. So a score of 286 is required when you add verbal plus quantitative together. A score of 300 is actually the 50th percentile. So 286 is within the average range of performance. It's not significantly above average as a requirement. And then thank you, Dr. Cortez, for pulling this up, because we do have undergraduate preparation requirements. And so if your undergraduate degree was not in psychology, then 15 hours of psychology at the undergraduate level would be required. And so some students will need to consider taking one or more classes at the undergraduate level in order to meet these prerequisites. But there is a lot of flexibility in terms of being able to look at the courses that you did complete as an undergraduate student. And so, for example, if physiological or abnormal psychology is not on your transcript, but you took a heavy focus in biology, anatomy, and physiology as an undergraduate, that may be sufficient. And so on a case-by-case basis, we do look at your undergraduate transcripts to find the best matches that we can for those requirements. And then again, like the GRE, the completion of the undergraduate requirements are a good foundation. The curriculum, not only is it a long curriculum as compared to a typical grad degree, but it's a very rigorous curriculum, and our students are taking 12 hours every semester. It takes a high level of effort to complete the rigor of the courses that we have within the curriculum. We want everyone to have as much of the background information as they might need to help them be successful.
With the school psychology, I know there's lots of like practicums to do, internship kind of things to do. When realistically within the timeline does that start? Because I mean, she actually works full-time for Nichols. And so she gets, you know, employee benefits there with going to grad school, but because of the practicum internship, she would have to leave her job, which means then that would go away.
Correct.
So it's kind of a catch-22 there in that, you know, she would get the benefit of going to grad school as a Nichols employee, but then she's got to give up being a Nichols employee, which means she gives up the benefit to be able to go. But anyway, as far as time frame goes, realistically, when would she need to be available to, I mean, when would she have to leave her job to be available for those practicum hours and internship hours?
Okay, so Dr. Cortez, if you could scroll down to where we have externships and internships, and that would be under, there you go, there's externship. Okay, so the school psychology program is divided. We do follow a cohort model, which means that students will typically progress in 3 years. The first year is primarily coursework and very, very limited daytime responsibilities that would interfere with working. The year 2 is additional coursework. It's year 2 of coursework, but year 2 involves what's called the externship. And it's a weird name. When they created the program 30-something years ago, they called it an externship, but it's really just what everybody else calls practicum. And so our practicum is incredibly unique. Most school psychology programs don't design their practicum the way that we do. This externship is with Lafourche Parish. We have a partnership with Lafourche Parish. We have 2 trainers on their staff who are highly experienced school psychologists who work with our students over the course of an entire year. And so fall and spring is a continuous experience where, as a school psychology student, you are in the schools from 8 to 3, 2 days a week. It is non-paid, but you are shadowing school psychologists and other school professionals. And over the course of the year, they're giving you assignments and they're giving you tasks to complete that are, you know, typically assigned to a school psychologist. So you get the full milieu of work, what it's like to work in a school system in that 2-semester experience. So if you are employed full-time, then you would have to reduce to a part-time employment in order to complete the externship. Most students on externship will choose to apply for a graduate assistantship if they have not already done so. The graduate assistantship requires that you work 20 hours a week on campus. We very carefully try to find for externs a place where they can work 2.5 days and get their 20 hours on campus. And then they've got the remainder of the week to fulfill what they need to for externships and classes. And then the graduate assistantship provides a tuition benefit. You still pay fees, but not tuition. And also provides a stipend of $2,500 or more per semester, which is divided across the months of the semester in either biweekly or monthly paychecks. So you're right, it is a catch-22. It's a significant investment of time to complete the externship. However, once students complete the externship, they move to year 3. Year 3 is an internship where you get a job where a district has a vacancy and you're able to work full-time as a fully employed, full-time salary, full-time schedule with benefits employee of a school district. And so that is also unique to Louisiana. In other states, it's not necessarily found that an internship is fully paid with a salary, but it is in Louisiana. And it may be in other states. It's just you have to find the ones that do. Some in Texas and some in Mississippi do pay a full-time salary. But on internship, you're a full-time student, but you're also earning that school psychologist salary. And most of our interns are starting in the $40,000 or higher range. And while they're still in school as an intern. So the trade-off is there that, you know, we call extern year the poor year, because you have the least amount of time to be able to work and earn money, but then you're moving into a much higher salary level for that 3rd year of school.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Okay, so let's see, Dr. Cortez, let's see what else is on this particular page. There are some, well, they're the faculty, Dr. Rashal and I. Dr. Henson is not pictured here, so that's something that we need to fix. And you guys saw a new picture of me on the announcement of this meeting today, but my new picture has never made it to the website. But there's also another, if we scroll back up, there's a tab that says degree requirements. There we go. All right, so this is a list of the 20 different classes that are part of the curriculum. So 20 classes times 3 hours each makes 60 hours. And those are the courses that are required before internship. And so you can see that statistics and psychometrics are a foundation, and that's because we are involved in diagnostic testing. And so having a foundation and understanding what testing is about is important. We do have a few courses in counseling, although counseling is not typically the major thing that a school psychologist will do on a school campus. Being able to respond to people who have mental health needs, either on a brief, in a brief fashion, or in to be able to get them services or refer them appropriately, we need to understand how to interact well. Basic facilitative skills, theories of counseling, adult and child psychopathology, and diagnosis are linked to that. Theories in learning, psychology of child and adolescent development are related to being able to assess and intervene with students. Can you scroll down some more, Dr. Cortez? Thanks. You can see that we have the 2 testing practica for diagnostic testing, and that's because school psychologists are involved with evaluating boys and girls for educational and behavioral needs. You also see some courses in consultation, instructional and behavioral consultation, and ABA, applied behavior analysis. as well as cognitive behavior theory. And those are all, or applied psychopharmacology. And those are all focused on intervening with boys and girls. So any boy or girl who's on a school campus, the school counselors and the school psychologists may be the only professionals that they are able to interact with. In consultation, we work closely with teachers to help them deliver some interventions in the classroom, but then we might also be designing some interventions that we would be doing with boys and girls on a limited basis as well. Crisis prevention and intervention is required for all of our graduate students as well, and I'm sure you can understand why that's part of our curriculum. There is a comprehensive exam. All grad programs typically will have that, which where you're integrating all of the course content that you've learned, and you're showing that you can make good decisions given scenarios that of school setting or child-specific situations. So what's interesting about school psychology, and it's the same for any, I think, any mental health program, is that we're training you to work with the full range of ages. So for school psychology, it's birth to 21, because a boy or girl with disabilities might still be served by the school system until they turn 21. But typically a school psychologist is going to be assigned to different schools, like maybe a couple of elementary schools and a middle school, or a couple of middle schools and a high school. And there may be some opportunity for you to develop an area of expertise. And so some school psychologists spend most of their time in assessment, and that's an area of expertise for them. Some might spend a lot of their time in early childhood screening and intervention, and that's a special area for them. Some work only in the high school setting because they work well with teenagers. So just like with any other area, there might be an opportunity to, over time, focus on a specific age group, or working with kids with autism, for example. But our training program is going to give you the foundation to address any of those areas initially.
Okay, another question. With the classes, are they majority face-to-face, majority online format for the school psychology, or?
School psychology training across the nation is primarily face-to-face. There are very, very, very few online programs. And I know of only 2 that are approved. That being said, this pandemic event, I think, is going to be a catalyst for a lot more distance learning. We do not have a plan for our program to be fully online at all at this time. The majority of our courses are face-to-face. 4 or 5 of them are taught either hybrid or fully online. So for example, there are 4 summer classes that are taught fully online, 2 the first summer, 2 the second summer. And then there's potentially 1 other class that's a fall spring class that's fully online. And then there are probably 3 or more that are hybrid, which means meets every other week. But ones that are very specific to the school psychology program, like the consultation and the testing courses, those are typically going to be meeting every week.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Our classes are from 5 to 7:50 or something like that, Monday through Thursday nights. And then no graduate classes on Fridays. And then, like I said, for year 2, the daytime requirements would be to do the 2 days of externship, and the rest of the course offerings would be in the evening as well.
The deadline for applying for fall, I believe, was like March 15th. Has that been extended, or?
Yes. So what we do is we have a March 15th deadline, because we need to get started with accepting students earlier rather than later. And then at this point, we still do have openings. We have not filled all of the slots that we want to fill. We want to have a cohort of 12. We currently have a cohort of 6. So we will review applications once they are complete, and progress each of them as we get them until our cohort is full.
Okay, and then as far as the GRE requirement, it will just be
it will be postponed at this time. We're going to be learning, you know, over the next couple of months whether or not testing centers are even going to become available. And at that time, I'll be working with Dr. Cortez to make a recommendation. So the bottom line is that if you have everything else that you need and you do not have the GRE, your application will be processed. And you have an opportunity to be invited to join the program even without that GRE score, because it's not available to you at this time.
Right. Thank you so much.
Sure. Maybe the FAQs, Dr. Cortez.
I can do that.
I'm not sure what our FAQs look like today. How many years? 3 years minimum. The university gives you 6 years. Nobody takes 6 years, but you officially have 6 years. And some students in the 72-hour program, it does require 12 hours each fall, 12 hours each spring. Some students say, you know what, I'd like to do a little bit of a slower pace and give myself an extra year, and that is fine. We allow students to be flexible, and then what happens is they would graduate with the next cohort. So we've talked about courses being in the evening. We've talked about graduate assistantships. You've asked about completing the degree. And just one more thing about finding an internship. The university doesn't find an internship for the student. The student will seek an internship by inquiring about and looking for vacancies in a district. However, multiple times each year, and especially at our state convention in the fall, we have formal networking opportunities for students. And that is where they're interacting with people from districts from all over the state. And so there's a lot of opportunity to learn about potential openings and what those districts are like and where they're located before time to apply for internship. And then graduate coursework to be transferred doesn't apply to any of you who are visiting with us, but if graduate courses were taken at another university, they can be considered.
I saw a couple of things we need to review on your website, so we can clean that up. But for the most part, everything looks really good. So I will scroll back up. Does anybody else have any questions for Dr. Broussard? Well, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this meeting complete. We thank y'all for joining us. If you have any questions, please contact Mr. Ordorn or myself or Dr. Broussard directly. But any questions pertaining to graduate school, we would love to help you with. Thank y'all for joining us today. And we hope that we'll have you back.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of the sessions about our counseling programs as well. And if you want to talk anymore, I'm always available.
Yes. We'll have a number of presentations for all this week. So if you go to our graduate school website, if there's any other graduate programs you might be interested in, we'll be conducting meetings like this virtually this week and next week.
Thank y'all so much. Very informative.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Everyone have a wonderful day.
Have a
Stay
wonderful
safe.
day.
Y'all too.
You too.